aboard. You're right on time for another beautiful ride on the Soul Train.
My name is Ike Turner, and I was a Soul Train dancer from 1973 to 1979. I was born in a little city called Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina, and I was raised in the DMV area, which stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I had a fantastic childhood for poor little black girl. My dad worked 3 jobs to make sure that we had everything we needed and most of what we wanted. Who inspired me to dance was my parents and James Brown. I had teenage parents, so they liked to dance, and they loved James Brown, so that's what I grew up on, watching James Brown dance. I was mature for my age, and I wanted to be adventurous, so I figured I couldn't do that in that little DMV area, so I just left. I ran away from home at 14, and I went to Memphis, Tennessee, and got a job with Isaac Hayes, because I had an uncle that was one of the Barkays. And when Isaac decided he was gonna stop performing, I told him, I can't go home, I'm a runaway. So he sent me to California to Don Cornelius, because I knew Don already. I met Don Cornelius doing the Push Expo for Jesse Jackson. When Isaac got in touch with Don Cornelius and told him that I was gonna be coming to California, well, Don said for me to come down. I didn't have to audition, so I just showed up on the set. It was wonderful. The Soul Train gang, we were all just one big tight-knit family. My dance style was a little different. I had a little go-go and then a little Memphis in there, and Confunction and I were in Memphis at the same time. So when they performed before they became big, we would perform at clubs, and we had a dance called the Toyland. We incorporated that with the go-go, so I brought it to LA when I came. The Toyland was a dance that you cross your legs and you move with a crisscross, along with whacking that Tyrone Proctor was teaching. So I incorporated all of that in my dance moves. I had several dance partners on the show. I had Chris Benaby, may he rest in peace. I had Daryl Mitchell, may he rest in peace. I had Eddie Franklin, Aretha Franklin's son. And I had Darnell Williams, who left me to go to New York to become Jesse on All My Children. And then my last dance partner was Fred Mays. My fashion sense was out the roof. My designer was Clara Arnaud, and Clara Arnaud was also the designer of Chaka Khan. I wore a lot of leather and suede outfits with feathers. So that's who dressed me my Soul Train career. My most memorable moment was when LaBelle came and Ike and Tina Turner. Those were the 2 that I was really impressed by. Barry White also, but mainly LaBelle and Ike and Tina. I loved their outfits because they were different. You know, they didn't dress like everybody else on stage at that time, except for Parliament Funkadelic.
She's got long black hair hanging down her back, long black pretty legs, and she walks just like a cat.
Tina had the energy, she could move like no other. And Ike, he was just too cool for words, you know? When I met them on the show, Ike had given me his card and told me to come by the studio. He had a studio called Bollock Sounds in Inglewood at the time. So one day I went by there. They were recording, they had stopped to take a break, and we were just sitting around talking. Ike was a person that liked to trace family roots. So he was asking me where I was from and so forth, because my last name was Turner. and my grandfather's name came up. And it was like, that's my cousin. And I was like, no, so that's how we ended up finding out we were related. Everybody wanted to see that Soul Train line. Don't get me wrong, the entertainers were phenomenal, but they still looked for that Soul Train line. It was very impactful. Well, my favorite moment was I had shaved all of my hair off, and Don wasn't really ready for that. So I went and bought a wig. As fate would have it, we had to keep doing retake after retake, and those lights were hotter than fish grease. I had just about had enough, and I came down the Soul Train line and snatched the whole wig off, and he went into convulsions. The producer upstairs, he said, "Let it ride." I left in '79 because I had tours to do. I had tours in Japan, Australia, and I even set up residency in Canada for a few years. So I was about that money. I had to go where the money calls. So yes, Soul Train opened a lot of doors for not just me, but quite a few of us. I've danced for Parliament, Funkadelic. I've performed with Billy Preston. Billy Preston and I had a show we would do at the Oh Ye Little Club in Beverly Hills. The club was owned by Joan Rivers and her husband, and we performed there every week. Then I went to Canada with 24 Karat Gold, and I toured with Raw Silk. I toured up until the late 80s. And I went to college and got a degree in mortuary science and became a mortician. So I went from live entertainment to deceased entertainment. I got married at 16, and I've had 10 husbands since. Marriage is a beast all in its own self. Some people are not meant to be married, and I'm one of them. And I've accepted that. I live with that, and it's okay. I have a 53-year-old daughter, a 50-year-old daughter. I have a 45-year-old son. I have a 36-year-old son, and I have a 38-year-old adopted daughter. And the 45-year-old son, he followed in my footsteps. He was a rapper and a dancer. Don let him dance on Soul Train. He danced in the early 90s. I retired from being a mortician because my back became too bad. And now I have a clothing store in Palmdale, California. And I have a book out now called I Am My Sister's Keeper, along with 14 other authors. We all have a chapter. And I'm almost through with my autobiography, Queen of the Crop. So I have quite a few things in the work. Soul Train was one of the most wonderful times in my life. I met a lot of good entertainers. Some I'm still friends to this day with. It was one of the greatest things that's ever happened.